Good day, sir. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Maria Rosel Agustin from 3.2 BSBA FM, and I am here to present the problem solving that I prepared from the chosen topic that we had in our report, which is special income statement items that includes 5 subtopics. So let's proceed to the first one. Equity in earnings of non-consolidated subsidiaries. Problem number 1. Kira S Corporation holds a 30% equity interest in XYZ Ltd, a non-consolidated subsidiary. XYZ Ltd reported earnings of $1,500,000 for the current financial year. Calculate Kira S Corporation's share of equity in earnings from its investment in XYZ Ltd. Here's the solution. The given informations are Kira S Corporation's equity interest in XYZ Ltd is equals to 30% and XYZ Ltd's reported earnings is equal to $1,500,000. Step 1. Determine equity in earnings. Equity in earnings is equal to equity interest times earnings of non-consolidated subsidiary, which is equals to 30% times $1,500,000. Then let's convert percent into decimal by dividing it by 100, which is equals to 0.30 times $1,500,000, and its total is $450,000. So the answer in problem number 1 is Kira S Corporation's share of equity in earnings from its investment in XYZ Ltd is $450,000. Next is problem number 2 on discontinued operations. XYZ Corporation decided to discontinue one of its business segments during the current financial year. The discontinued segment reported a loss of $700,000 for the period before taxes. Additionally, the company incurred $100,000 in disposal costs related to the discontinued segment. Calculate the net loss from discontinued operations considering both the operating loss and disposal costs. Here's the solution. The given informations are loss from discontinued operations before taxes is equals to $700,000 and disposal costs related to discontinued operations is equal to $100,000. Step 1 is to calculate total loss from discontinued operations. Add the loss from discontinued operations before taxes and the disposal cost to determine the total loss. So, total loss from discontinued operations is equal to loss before taxes plus disposal cost. So, $700,000 plus $100,000 is equal to $800,000. And the answer for our problem number 2 is the net loss from discontinued operations is $800,000. Extraordinary items. Problem number 3. Kira S Incorporation experienced an extraordinary event during the current financial year, resulting in a gain of $1,200,000. Calculate the impact of the extraordinary item on QRS Incorporation's net income, considering that the tax rate is 30%. Here's the solution. The givens are gain from extraordinary item is equal to $1,200,000 and tax rate is equals to 30%. Step 1. Calculate tax impact. Determine the tax impact by multiplying the gain from the extraordinary item by the tax rate. So, $1,200,000 times 30% is equals to $360,000. Step 2. Calculate net income impact. Subtract the tax impact from the gain from the extraordinary item to find the net income impact. So, $1,200,000 minus $360,000, which is equals to $840,000. So the final result is the extraordinary item contributes a net gain of $840,000 to QRS Incorporation's net income for the current financial year. Problem number 4 from minority share of earnings. QRS Corporation owns 80% of XYZ Ltd, a subsidiary. XYZ Ltd reported earnings of $1 million for the current financial year. Calculate the minority share of earnings attributable to the non-controlling interest. The givens are QRS Corporation's ownership in XYZ Ltd is equals to 80%, then XYZ Ltd's reported earnings is equals to $1 million. Step 1. Determine ownership percentage for non-controlling interest. Calculate the ownership percentage attributable to the non-controlling interest by subtracting QRS Corporation's ownership percentage from 100. So 100% minus 80% is equals to 20%. Step 2. Calculate minority share of earnings by applying the non-controlling interest percentage to XYZ Ltd's reported earnings. So non-controlling interest percentage times earnings of subsidiary is equals to 20% times $1 million is equals to $200,000. The final answer is the minority share of earnings attributable to the non-controlling interest in XYZ Ltd is $200,000. Therefore, the non-controlling interest in XYZ Ltd holds a minority share of earnings amounting to $200,000 for the current financial year. Let's now proceed to the last problem, number 5, in unusual or infrequent item disclosed separately. XYZ Corporation experienced an unusual event during the current financial year. The company incurred restructuring costs of $800,000, which are considered unusual and infrequent items. As per accounting standards, these costs need to be disclosed separately in the financial statements. Calculate the impact of the unusual item on XYZ Corporation's net income and earnings per share. Here's the solution. Given our restructuring costs or unusual item is equals to $800,000. Step 1. Identify unusual item. The restructuring costs of $800,000 are considered an unusual and infrequent item. Step 2. Impact on net income. Subtract the restructuring costs from the net income to find the adjusted net income. So, $2 million minus $800,000 is equals to $1,200,000. For example, if the net income without the unusual item is $2 million, then therefore, the adjusted net income considering the impact of unusual item is $1,200,000. Step 3. Impact on earnings per share. Calculate the adjusted earnings per share by dividing the adjusted net income by the total number of outstanding shares. So, $1,200,000 divided by 500 is equals to $2.40 per share. Therefore, the adjusted earnings per share considering the impact of the unusual item is $2.40. In summary, the impact of the unusual item on XYZ Corporation's financials is reduction in net income by $800,000, leading to an adjusted net income of $1,200,000. This result in an adjusted earnings per share of $2.40. That's all for my midterm exam, which is problem solving. Thank you for listening.